Hi, folks. A few things to note before we get into this episode. Number one, we had some technical difficulties, so there will be no captions for this round. Apologies for that in advance. Number two, there are some adult themes discussed in this episode, including sexual abuse of a minor, gun violence, and drug abuse. So be warned of that and get your bingo cards ready. Lastly, our guest talks about an experience that he at the time considered a personal failure. However, I just want to clarify and confirm that no minors, no children are responsible for abuse of any kind that is done to them. Just want to add that note to clarify before we get into things. Thanks so much and enjoy the show. Did you ever fail in school? Any classes?
In my sophomore year of high school, my first semester of art, I failed.
Really?
I refused to do the assignments.
Were you still making stuff
Yeah,
in the class? You just weren't doing the assignments
I
that they
was
were.
like, I'm not doing that. It's dumb.
Nice. Awesome. See, there's a kid standing up for himself
That's true.
in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I like to start these episodes by talking about something that I am failing at or struggling with. And I have two tonight. First of all, I've really been struggling with sleeping lately. Every morning for a couple of months now, I've woken up at about 4:15, and I don't like that. Um, that's been a struggle for me lately. And as I'm sure most of you know, struggling with sleep can lead to struggles in many other places. My other failure was that I sent tonight's guest the wrong link, and so we're starting 15 minutes late because I messed that up. So, speaking of my guest, we have someone very special tonight. He is an award winning screenwriter, playwright, director, an incredible visual artist, cat dad. Still a cat dad?
No,
No,
no, he
former cat
passed away a
dad.
couple of years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Um, a friend and a great collaborator, Steven Bogart, is here. I'm so sad that
Wiley, his name is Wiley.
Wiley,
Yeah.
yeah. What
Yeah.
happened?
Um,
Just
he
age?
he had a major digestive issue that we were trying to maintain for him, but he started having strokes,
Oh gosh.
and then he started seeking out the closet to sleep in during the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's people said that's always a sign that they're deteriorating.
What kind of red
And
light?
then Amory, my wife, she was convinced that we needed to bring him to the vet and have him put to sleep, that he was suffering.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that yet. Then, and I was out with him, and I picked him up, and I felt this like tremor, spasm that I'd never felt before from him. And then I was like, I knew it. And then I just said to Amory, "Yeah, you're right. We have to take him."
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe it's a something that women are more attuned to.
probably.
Yeah.
Well,
That would make
we're walking around dumb and disconnected from our emotions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, I'm sad to hear it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, John.
Um, so to dive in, just to kind of set a baseline here, when you hear the word fail, what does that mean to you, or what does that conjure up for you?
Yeah, it's been a real challenging thing to think about the word. Like if I think about it, I mean, if there's so many ways to think about it, and I think it probably depends on different people,
Yeah.
how they experience it. But for me, I think the word itself, failure, just means like utter disaster, or like just complete, like you completely just blew it, and there's
Uh-huh.
no way of turning it around.
Uh-huh.
That
So it's
and
pretty extreme.
it's pretty extreme, and I've experienced that feeling, and then feeling like I can't turn it around, but then I was able to turn it around. So I think maybe it's a matter of not being able to, either not being able to or unwilling to examine your own life. Because I think there's mistakes, but failure
Sure.
seems like more of an extreme result of something, as opposed to you can have a mistake, but then you can address the mistake. I don't know, maybe you can't always fix it, I guess, I don't know.
Sure.
I was thinking about like my father, who owned a business when I was in college, and my freshman year of college, he went bankrupt. So he thought that he failed in business,
Right.
but ultimately he didn't. He still got a job. He was so well known in his business that he easily got another job, but he just failed in his own business. So, but that's a different kind of failure. I think the failure with failure or mistakes I struggle with are, I actually don't believe in artistic failure.
Right.
In the sense of, I rely on failure in art, right? Like, so when you're devising a theater piece, I mean, you're relying for people to bring in the messes, right?
Right.
The stuff that's not working. That was awful, and there was something about it that was also, good or great. Like, we can pull from it somehow, but so. When I'm painting, I deliberately make a mess so that it looks ugly and that I'm never going to solve this thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, I put myself there on purpose,
Yeah.
And I think we do that as writers too, right? We like the first drafts, we just make the mess, like get it out there, make the mess, get rid of that editing brain that actually is trying to make you fail.
Right.
Right? That voice is going, you suck at this. You're going to fail. Why are you even trying? Give up now. Right?
You have that voice too?
Oh my God. I have that voice all the time. I've been able to ignore the voice though.
Yeah. How consistently do you feel like you live that's your experience, versus how often are you failing and getting frustrated and reminding yourself, oh, I'm not
Yeah.
actually failing. This is not actually.
Right. Daily, John.
Okay.
Daily. Yeah. I
Right.
am not evolved regarding this. I just have more awareness of things at play.
Yeah.
I saw this, I think it might have been on Instagram. Somebody posted this sign. Two artists stood on a crane or something, or they're holding out a flag, and it said, "Dear artist, your art does not have to save the world. It just has to save your soul." I thought that was brilliant, because, like I think I can relate to it more with painting. Every time I work on a new painting, I have in this my head, this is going to be a masterpiece. This is going to be the piece that changes the art world. And it's such delusion, especially this day and age in the art world.
Yeah.
But it still gives you energy to strive for something. You know what I mean? But I have to remind myself that my art's not going to change the world. It's going to change me. And I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any answers for any of this stuff, John. I, I really don't. I just
We're
know.
making the mess here, Steve. We're making the mess.
Oh, we're making a mess now. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll find something in it. Um, yeah, I mean, so also what because of doing theater, sometimes the successes and failures or whatever within doing a theater project can also be tied up to personal failure. Like
Right.
right, it's not separate. Like
Right.
I can look at writing, or I can look at making a painting, and it's not separate from. I mean, it's separate from personal failure
Right.
to me. I mean, or like cycle or what am I trying to say? It's not something that affects anybody else.
Right.
That's what I mean. It's not a failure with, and you've left someone else down or blah blah blah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like some of my biggest artistic and personal failures have been in some kind of a collaboration where I was going through my own thing and didn't know how to share about it or didn't know to share about it, and it
Mm.
impacted the project in some way and impacted the people around me in some way.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean, you're right. When you're just in front of the laptop or in front of the pad and paper,
Yeah, it
no one
doesn't
else
matter.
is, yeah, it doesn't matter at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah. But when you are doing a project, um, everyone's relying on each other.
What's the most recent time that you feel like you had one of these? I guess since you're thinking massive extremes, when's the most recent time that you just totally,
Well, yeah. Well, the one that comes to mind was so the American Repertory Theater there when they had their graduate program, they contacted me. This was after I had directed Cabaret there, so
yeah.
like 2 years later, they contacted me and asked me if I would be willing to
Hmm.
devise a play for their final play of their graduate year. And I said, great, sure, I'd love to. And at the time, there was a theme that the ART and two other theaters, it was related the to Civil War and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so decided to do a piece about the abolitionists. I start out doing weird stuff, and these were graduate students. They had all the active training that you could possibly imagine. So I started out doing Rasa Boxes. I don't know if you know about those. So
No.
rasas are the different kinds of spices in Indian cooking,
Uh-huh.
and each spice is connected to an emotion.
Uh-huh.
And but so there's this whole approach to like generating ideas and exploring character and story, etc., where you create a huge box of 9 squares, and you put the name of an emotion in each box, and so that's how I started with them. and we did a big brainstorm about abolition and
Uh-huh.
slavery and all just and whatever, and we not even bringing in research, just whatever popped into their head, and we
Right.
did this whole project. And my cast was made up of some African American students, several Asian students, Asian American students, um, West Asian American students, and Caucasian students. So it's a pretty diverse cast.
Hmm.
We did the Rasa Boxes. I thought it went great, having a great time, generating lots of things to talk about in the next. Then I get a call. It was like a call from the head of the program saying, Steve, you need to come in. We need to talk to you about something that happened in your rehearsal. I was like, what happened in my rehearsal?
Yeah.
So this isn't even the worst part. This is just telling you like what I was given.
Right.
I would go in and talk to them, and they say, there are two students in this group that are having lots of difficult times with each other. And one student is saying that when you were doing your Rasa Boxes, the things they were writing were attacks at the other student.
Mm.
And I was like, really? I mean, I looked at everything. Unless there was some really coded things going on, I didn't get it. And then they said, these students may not work together, but they have to be in your show and be in your rehearsals. This is a devised theater piece.
Right.
They can't work together. So I had to make sure whenever we broke up into groups to create material to come back, that they could not be ever in the same group.
Wow.
These are graduate MFA students at the American Repertory Theater, right? So anyway,
Yikes.
The process went on. We eventually came up with a script, and it was time for me to cast. And it was a piece about, oh God, what's his name? It was a African-American slave who escaped the South and was living in Massachusetts. There were slave catchers coming up and trying to take him back. But he was being protected here. And there was a trial and everything. But I had to cast the show. And when I cast the show, there was a major riff because, first of all, the African-American students said to me, they don't want any white students playing African-Americans in this piece.
Uh-huh.
And then when I cast the piece, I had to cast the Asian Americans as well. And they were like, what the hell? What about us? What are we supposed to do?
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, why didn't I think of that early on when we were working on this project, seeing what kind of cast I had, where we could have addressed that from the very beginning, or at least when I noticed it, if I had noticed it, and we could have talked about it and said, okay, we're doing this piece about this. How does everybody play the different roles? We need to come up with an agreement on that.
Right.
And I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not. I mean, I take responsibility for that. But also, the head of the program, they knew who I was working with. They knew the subject matter. So nobody said a word about it. But I take responsibility, and it led to this horrific, like basically the Asian American students, and I had a Palestinian American student in there too, were basically they weren't rioting, but they were so angry and they didn't want to do it anymore, but they had to because it was their graduation piece.
Right.
Right. And so I had to have a talk with them.
Yeah.
And so I had this talk with them, and everybody got to say what they were feeling and thinking, and it was devastating. It was so painful. It was painful for them, and it was painful for me to hear from them how they feel dismissed, unseen, let down, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And it was so hard, John. It was so hard. And all I could do was say that this is all my fault, and I'm really, really sorry. And I was sobbing actually when I was apologizing to them. And then that's all it needed. After that, they all shifted and were like, okay, let's do it. They needed to be seen and heard and to be acknowledged that this was fucked up, but we can still make the play work.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I never told you this story.
No, never.
I don't tell a lot of people that story.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So
it was very hard.
So then did it ultimately come together and everyone was
Yep,
able to like hop on board, basically?
yep. It,
Wow.
it
Wow.
ultimately came together. Everybody hopped on board. The students that were really angry with me, it all went away, and they embraced me and remained friendly with me for several years after too. I've lost touch with them now, but
Sure.
um, yeah,
Wow.
it completely shifted, um, and I learned a lot from. That was a failure,
Yeah.
but luckily, as a group, everybody's generosity after that hard discussion turned it around. We're able to
Yeah.
turn it around. So, yeah,
I find the having those moments of acknowledging is so important when there's any kind of a struggle or difficulty going on, right?
yeah,
Um, I was telling a friend, um, all a lot of my best moments as a parent are times when I really fuck up, and then I go to my kid and I say, "Hey, I just want to acknowledge I really fucked up, and this is what I was
yeah,
thinking at the time, and this is why I made the choice that I did, and it was the wrong choice." And
yeah. I failed as a director. One aspect of being a director, failed as a leader in a devised project. I failed
mm,
in seeing everybody, really seeing like, oh, how are we going to, if we're doing this, how is everybody going to be able to feel good about being in the piece, you know?
yeah,
And I think their generosity and understanding that, you know, it was a mistake, it was a big mistake, but it was not malicious or um, it was just ignorance or
yeah,
unawareness at that about what was in front of me, you know.
right, right. Does your sense of failure of messing something up come from an internal place, or is it driven by reactions that you're getting from people? I mean, this moment sounds like it's kind of both,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, how often is it
Yeah.
someone else
Well,
reacting to something you've done, and that's what
oh, I
clicks
see
in?
what you mean. Um, no, I would say generally it's coming from me inside
Yeah,
as opposed to a reaction to someone else. Because
yeah,
I've had some situations where people would come at me about something and I just said, well, no, I don't agree with you. Like,
yeah,
you're wrong. I'm
yeah,
sorry you're experiencing that, but that's not accurate, you know, that kind of thing. So,
yeah,
or it was a mistake, it was a minor mistake, I don't know. Usually my sense of, well, you know, I don't know how much I really want to share publicly, but it's okay. My childhood was so fucked up, John. And
yeah,
I came from lots of abuse, sexual assault, violence. And so my self awareness, my ability to examine my own emotions and myself and the choices and things that I be making was so messed up. I had no ability to
yeah,
see, to examine my own inner life and then even my life around me and make choices that were healthy
right.
for years. I've always struggled with feeling like I am a failure.
Hmm.
Even when like even today, that voice is there. Like if I do a piece of art that I love, it's like, okay, but there's something wrong with it, or, well, it's not as good as the next piece is going to be. Or if
Yeah,
I do a theater piece and I feel good about it, I can have a moment of like, well, I did a good job, that's really good. But, you know, in the back of my mind, there's this voice saying, no, it's not really that good. You're not really that good.
yeah,
What you did's not really that good. You know?
yeah.
And those were messages that I got growing up all the time.
Sure, sure.
So I struggle with that inner voice, and I see my mistakes or failures. I see them when they're and think they're there, and sometimes I think they're there and they're not there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
How did you shift? You talked about taking a long time to develop a sort of self-awareness, and I'm curious how you developed that. How did you learn?
22 years of therapy, John,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a wife who was self-aware and, you know, who was a mirror sometimes. So,
Yeah.
yeah. When I was in high school, my freshman year, my senior, and my sophomore year of high school were all me just doing drugs and
Mm.
barely passing classes.
Hmm.
But then, in my junior year, I had a couple of art teachers who saw some potential in me, and they sort of saved my life. They really encouraged me, and I started living in the art rooms at the high school. Like whenever I had free time, that's where I'd be. I'd be there after school. I'd work in
Yeah.
and then my parents were divorced, and my father and my stepmother were also very encouraging about my art, and probably realized that that was the only way to save me. So they were very encouraging about me going to art school. And then the weird thing is I went to art school, and this Japanese painting professor took me under his wing. And at first it was like amazing. And then he wanted to start a kind of art community. And he was like, why don't you find an apartment, and we can use we can have drawing and painting classes there, because he had people who he would have little drawing classes anyway outside of the school. So I rented out this apartment, and we started having drawing and painting classes there on like Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and it grew, and eventually we took over the whole building. Right, it became this huge, all 4 floors filled with people living on each floor, and art classes and all kinds of stuff going on, a gallery. And the people who I were with at the time, we were so excited about this place. We were so excited about it that, like, when the professor went away for the summer, he'd go back to Japan. We spent the whole summer stripping wallpaper off of walls, sanding floors, and just bringing so much life into this place, because we were so proud of what this could be.
Yeah.
But I
Wow.
was so naive. He was this professor, even though he took me under his wing, and I would go to his apartment at 11 o'clock at night, and he'd feed me, and I'd be there till 2 in the morning, all kinds of sort of really wonderful things. But as far as your own personal artistic development, he would reprimand you anytime you went outside of what his aesthetic was.
Mm.
So any impulses to experiment outside of that aesthetic were shot down. And after 10 years there, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was suffocating me.
Yeah.
And I left. And after I left, I was kind of banished. In fact, there was a group of us who started the place. We were there for 10 years. Some of us, the founding members of that place, I think it was a solid 5 or 6 or 8 of us maybe. And all but 1 or 2 left, I think. Those that left were taken off any material. Their names were taken off any record of them being founding members. That's
Wow.
how I guess hurt he was by us. We abandoned him or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was another thing about me being naive and unaware of how to stand up for myself,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know, how to see what I needed. But eventually I left. I needed, you know, eventually I found my way out.
Yeah. Do you feel like your later sense of experimenting and kind of embracing that mess is driven in any way by your teacher's
You mean like a
uh
reaction to that?
yeah.
Yeah, well, when I first finally left, you know, he had all these rules about what how you should paint, what colors you should use, what colors you shouldn't use,
Uh-huh.
uh, all these different rules. And I just did for a solid year or two. I just did paintings that were the exact opposite of everything he told me,
Uh-huh.
to try to break out of it,
Yeah.
because his voice was so strong, you know.
Right. Right.
And what he taught, there was certainly some strong elements that he taught, but it was so restrictive, you know.
Yeah.
I
10
think,
years is a long time to be in
yeah,
an environment like that and hear that voice again and again.
yeah, 10 years is a long time. But I think my theater work was mostly where, I mean, my poor students were basically guinea pigs,
Uh-huh.
because because I got a BFA in visual art at the museum school, Tufts, right? I didn't get a theater degree, right?
Uh-huh.
But eventually I went back and got a theater degree. I got a master's in theater and an MFA in dramatic writing. And, but that whole time, like, that I was teaching, getting my degree, and then continuing to teach, I was trying things out and I didn't know what I was doing. Because I
Yeah.
had no theater, I didn't know anything other than let's create something. And so I would go to the bookstore and I'd look, who's this Grotowski guy? And I'd look at it and go, oh, these exercises look really interesting. Let's try them. And I wasn't trained in Grotowski, you know.
Right.
And but my poor students, just like, I'm making them do this stuff. But I think the foundation for me was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just throw shit at the wall.
Right. Right.
And I think I got really comfortable and good at throwing shit at the wall and then trying to make something of it.
Yeah. Was that intimidating at first? How did it feel to start off by doing that?
Well, there was always a bit of a like, oh, are we going to actually end up creating something that's going to be good?
Right.
But it wasn't intimidating. When did it become? It did become intimidating. It became
Hmm.
intimidating when I went to fucking school. When I went back to school, that's when it became intimidating.
What? Why?
Because it was like suddenly you had all these trained professors who knew all this stuff, and like there was this one professor, I'm not going to say his name because I actually liked him a lot, but I took his musical theater directing class, right? And he brought in um, to show us how he stages his musicals.
Uh-huh.
He said he gets the model from the set designer. He's got the model. And then he has his script and he has the model. And then he has all these buttons. And the buttons represent different characters, right?
Uh-huh.
And he reads through the script and he plays the songs and he sings and he moves the buttons around and he figures out the staging. And that's exactly how he did it. He would come into rehearsal because I assistant directed one of his musicals when I was there. And that's what he did. He had all the staging written in his production book. And
Wow.
that's what he did. But he didn't, he said, this is the way you should do it. I was like, that's the way you should do it. It's like, I can't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I can do it. If
Right.
I have to do it, I can do it. But but then I realized what he was showing us was what to do when you have to put a musical on its feet in 2 weeks,
Right.
and you
Right.
don't have time to explore with the actors, and you just have to
Right.
come and say, "Here's the staging, make it
Right.
work."
Right.
So
Explore within this. Figure it out.
yeah, but I don't know how that's about failure.
Let's do. We're leaning towards our final act. Let's do a little speed round.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about the earliest time in your life that you feel like you had one of these failures.
Well, it's complicated. I feel like my failures in my early part of my life were my inability to stand up for myself or say no
Mm,
or pull myself out of a situation that
mm-hmm.
was destructive.
Yeah.
So, well, the earliest, most devastating time was when my stepbrother, who was older than me, brought me to a park. I was 11,
Mm.
and to a man who then molested me.
Wow.
Yeah. So my brother was allowing the man to blow him for money, and then I was expected to allow that to happen as well, and I didn't know
Mm.
what the hell was going on,
Right.
and it was pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, and I looked up to my stepbrother, but when I think about him, he's brought me through multiple horrible experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another time, I'm going to give you all the shit now, John. Another
Oh, man.
time, when I was 14, my mother and my stepfather were sitting on the sofa in our apartment in New York, and my stepfather was on the sofa with my mother, and he was he was a hunter, and he had his shotgun out, and he was taking a shotgun bullet, and he was taking out the pellets and making a blank, right?
Yeah.
But when I came out of the bathroom, he was pointing the shotgun at me, and he fired. He fired the blank at me from about 10 feet away. And I jumped out of my skin, for one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, the gun was so close that my T-shirt had gunpowder spray on it.
Yeah.
And so the most devastating part about that was my mother never said a word. Oh, wait, she said, "Oh, that's not very funny." And then I went back into the back of my bedroom in shock, and she never said a word after that. Never came to talk to me to see how I was doing. Just nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. So, oh, and there was a time when I was 8 years old where I was so sick of my mother screaming at me and all this other stuff she was doing that I called up my father and said, "Dad, I want to come live with you." And he asked to talk to my mother. Then when she got off the phone with him, basically started screaming at me and told me to get out. Get out. And I was like, "Okay, good, I'm going." And she's like, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" And pulled me back. But I think that 8-year-old kid was standing up for himself.
Yeah.
But the powers around were not allowing him to get what he needed. Because my father called a lawyer, and the lawyer said, "You don't have a chance of getting custody.
Yeah.
So don't bother."
Wow.
I feel like my failures have been about not standing up for myself, or not getting myself out of a destructive situation. And then there was drug use as well, which was like a way of, not dealing with any of this pain,
Right.
stuff
Right.
going on. Yeah.
Do you feel like you still have that struggle to stand up for yourself, even if the circumstances are less extreme now? Or do you feel like you've learned how to do that?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good about it.
Yeah.
And I can stand up for other people, and I can stand up for production if somebody is, behaving in a way that's destructive.
Hmm.
I mean, I've done some stupid things standing up for myself.
Like what?
Years and years ago, Amory and I were coming from a party in Central Square, and we were walking down Mass Ave at night, and there was a gang of kids. But they were going down the street, and they were just beating the crap out of every white person they saw. And they came by us, and as they passed, one of them passed me, just smashed me in the face with his fist. And I, like an idiot, right? Like an idiot, grabbed the kid and threw him up against the wall, and then suddenly all of them descended on me.
Right.
Right?
Jeez.
Instead of, I should have just taken the punch and kept going, walk away.
Yeah.
But instead, like an idiot, So when I think of that, I still get angry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do you get angry at yourself for doing that? Or do you get angry at the kid for hitting you?
I got angry at the whole situation.
Sure.
I have some more awareness now, I could have the punch didn't hurt that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have just taken it, but I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? That was just a stupid reaction. I mean,
Yeah.
you can understand the reaction, but it had no self-awareness at all.
Sure. Sure. When we were living in New York, I got off the train one time. I think this was in Times Square because I always transferred there. And I did one of those things where another guy was coming towards me, and we had that thing of we both went this way, then we both went that way. We did that a couple of times, and finally we got out of it. And he's coming to get on the train. I'm getting off. As he pushes past me, he takes his elbow and just swings it right into my solar plexus, basically. Knocked the wind out of me. And I don't know where this came from, because this was not a normal reaction from me, but I just yelled, "Thank you," and walked away. And for some reason I don't know where it came from, but it tickles me to this day.
You could have added, "Thank you, do it again."
Please, sir, can I have another? Did you ever fail in school? Any classes?
In my sophomore year of high school, my first semester of art, I failed.
Really?
I refused to do the assignments.
Were you still making stuff
Yeah.
in the class? You just weren't doing the assignments
I
that
was
they
like,
were.
I'm not doing that, it's dumb.
Nice. Awesome. See, there's a kid standing up for himself
That's true.
in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I did stand up for myself. My father, when I was 16, sent me to Israel for the summer, where I worked on a kibbutz for 2 months.
Uh-huh.
While I was there, my mother and my stepfather moved from New York out to Long Island. Didn't tell me. So when I flew home, they met me at the airport and brought me out to Long Island to our new house. I had no idea that was going on, right?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
my hair was down to here when I came back from Israel, right? My stepfather saw me and he said, "You're getting a haircut." And I said, fuck you. That's the first time I stood up to him. Actually, no, it's the second time. Yeah. And he didn't bother me anymore.
Awesome. This will be our last question. What's the best lesson you've learned from failure?
I don't know, this maybe sounds a little cliche. Just to try to be with yourself more, examine what's going on with you, with myself, like check in, what am I feeling? What is this situation? I don't know. I mean, sometimes that doesn't make a difference necessarily. I don't know, but to take responsibility for the mistakes, to examine them and see what did I, why did this fail? Why was I failure in this moment? And so I could be better about it in the future. So,
Yeah.
but it sounds a little cliche, but I don't know what else to say, what another answer is to that. You know?
I mean, it sounds like that's a lot of what's helped you. So
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
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 I lied. There is one more question. I like to end with, since we started with what is failure, what does the word success mean to you? What does that feel like? What does it look like?
Success means failing really well. No, but what is success? I mean, actually, failing well is good, especially in the arts. Like, if you're going to fail, just go for it. Just fail. What's the worst that can happen? I guess at this point in my life, I feel like success is when I feel like I've accomplished something, that it doesn't matter if other people recognize that accomplishment, that I know that I've accomplished something,
Yeah.
or that I'm getting better at communicating with Amory, that feels like probably the most important successes that we've been together for 40 years, John.
That's beautiful.
I know.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know.
And you keep your mess in the art and out of the relationship.
I try to.
You try to. FlawedCast is created, hosted, edited, and produced by me, John J. King. Thanks for failing with me. Is that okay?